The war between humanity and the Zyn'thari Empire had raged for decades. The Zyn'thari, a race of insectoid aliens with a hive mind hierarchy, had swept across the galaxy, conquering and consuming everything in their path. Humanity, though outmatched in numbers and technology, had held their ground through sheer determination and ingenuity. But now the tide seemed to be turning. The Zyn'thari Queen, a towering chitinous figure with iridescent wings and eyes like molten gold, had captured a human soldier, a rare prize in this brutal conflict. The soldier, Sergeant Marcus Hale, had been separated from his unit during a skirmish on the jungle planet of Viridian Prime. His squad had been ambushed by Zyn'thari drones, and though they fought valiantly, Marcus was overwhelmed and taken captive. Now he stood before the Queen in her throne room, a cavernous chamber filled with bioluminescent fungi and the hum of thousands of Zyn'thari workers. The Queen loomed over him, her mandibles clicking as she studied her prisoner. Marcus, battered and bruised but still defiant, met her gaze without flinching. He knew what the Zyn'thari did to their captives. Assimilation into the hive mind, a fate worse than death. But he also knew that if he could buy time, his comrades might find a way to rescue him. "You are brave, human," the Queen hissed, her voice a blend of guttural clicks and melodic tones. "But bravery will not save you. You will serve the hive, as all creatures must." Marcus smirked, despite the pain coursing through his body. "Yeah, I've heard that before. But you know what? Humans don't do serving very well. We're more into resisting and blowing stuff up." The Queen tilted her head, intrigued by his defiance. She had encountered many species in her conquests, but humans were different. They fought with a ferocity that defied logic, and even in the face of certain death, they refused to submit. She decided to probe deeper to understand what made this creature tick. "Why do you resist?" she asked, her voice softer now, almost curious. "You are alone, surrounded by my warriors. Your species is on the brink of extinction. What drives you to continue fighting?" Marcus hesitated. He had expected torture, interrogation, or immediate assimilation. But this was different. The Queen seemed genuinely interested in his answer. He decided to play along, if only to buy more time. "Because we have something worth fighting for," he said, his voice steady. "Family, friends, freedom. You wouldn't understand, your kind doesn't have those things. They're just machines. A hive mind with no individuality, no soul." The Queen's eyes narrowed, and for a moment, Marcus thought he had gone too far. But then she did something unexpected. She laughed. It was a strange, alien sound, but it was unmistakably laughter. "You think we have no soul," she said, her tone almost mocking. "You think we are mindless drones, incapable of feeling or understanding. You are wrong, human. We feel. We understand. But our purpose is greater than individual desires. We are the hive. We are one." Marcus shook his head. "That's where you're wrong. You might be one, but that doesn't make you strong. Makes you weak. Because if one of you falls, the whole hive feels it. But us, we're individuals. We can lose 1, 10, 100 of us, and we'll keep fighting. Because every single one of us believes in what we're fighting for." The Queen was silent for a long moment, her golden eyes boring into Marcus's. Then she did something that shocked him even more. She reached out with one of her clawed hands and touched his forehead. Marcus braced himself for pain, but instead, he felt a strange warmth spreading through his mind. Images flashed before his eyes. Memories of his childhood, his family, his friends, his comrades. He saw the faces of those he had lost, and those he still fought to protect. And then he saw something else, something that wasn't his memory. He saw the Queen's past, her childhood in the hive, her rise to power, the weight of responsibility she carried for her entire species. He felt her loneliness, her fear of failure, her desire to protect her people at all costs. For a brief moment, their minds were connected, and Marcus understood the Queen in a way he never thought possible. The connection broke, and Marcus stumbled back, gasping for breath. The Queen regarded him with a mixture of awe and fear. You are not what I expected," she said, her voice trembling. "You're kind. You are so fragile, so divided. And yet you are stronger than I could have imagined. Your will, it is unbreakable." Marcus shook his head, trying to clear the lingering images from his mind. "Yeah, well, that's humanity for you. We might not have a hive mind, but we've got something you'll never understand, hope." The Queen was silent for a long time, her gaze distant. Finally she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. Perhaps I have been wrong. Perhaps there is another way." Marcus frowned. "What are you talking about?" The Queen turned to him, her eyes filled with a strange light. "I have seen your memories, human. I have felt your pain, your love, your hope. And I have realized that the hive mind, it is not the only path. There is strength in individuality, in diversity. Perhaps we do not need to conquer. Perhaps we can coexist." Marcus blinked, stunned. "You're saying you want peace?" The Queen nodded slowly. "Yes, but it will not be easy. My people, they will resist. They will not understand. But I will make them see. I will show them what I have seen in you." Marcus couldn't believe what he was hearing. The Zyn'thari Queen, the most feared being in the galaxy, was talking about peace. It was almost too good to be true. "And what about me?" he asked. "What happens now?" The Queen regarded him with something akin to respect. "You will be released. You will return to your people, and you will tell them of my offer. But know this, human. If they refuse, if they continue to fight, I will have no choice but to destroy them. I cannot risk the safety of my hive." Marcus nodded. "I understand. And, thank you." The Queen inclined her head, a gesture of respect. "Go, human. And may your hope guide us both." As Marcus was led away by the Zyn'thari drones, he couldn't help but feel a glimmer of optimism. The war might not be over, but for the first time in a long time, there was a chance for peace. And that was something worth fighting for. Epilogue. Months later, on the outskirts of Zyn'thari space, a human envoy ship approached the Queen's flagship. On board was Marcus Hale, now a diplomat, tasked with negotiating the terms of the ceasefire. The war had been long and brutal, but the seeds of peace had been sown. As Marcus stepped onto the Zyn'thari ship, he was greeted by the Queen herself. She had changed since their last meeting. Her once imposing figure now seemed softer, more approachable. Her eyes, once filled with cold determination, now held a glimmer of hope. "Welcome, Marcus Hale," she said, her voice warm. "I am glad you have come." Marcus smiled. "I told you we'd find a way." The Queen nodded. "Indeed. And now we begin a new chapter, one of cooperation, not conflict." As they walked together through the ship, Marcus couldn't help but feel a sense of pride. The road ahead would be difficult, but for the first time in a long time there was hope. And that was enough. The galaxy would never be the same.